Hello again, crafters. This week we're talking about offerings and sacrifice and how we can devote our hearts to God. We're looking at a passage from Micah chapter 6, where we hear that God isn't so much interested in sacrifices of money or things, but He wants us. He wants all of us, our whole hearts. He wants us to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with Him, with our God. So our crafts reflect that this week. We have two crafts we're going to make, and the first one has to do with this idea of what we offer to God. The second craft is more related to the passage itself and remembering these verses. So let's get right to work. The first thing that we're going to make today, you can do in a few different ways. We're going to make sort of an offering container or collection container basket of sorts, and I'm going to show you how to do it with paper plates, but you could also do it with a paper bag, you could do it with a gift bag, you could do it with some sort of empty container like a tissue box or a coffee can. There's a lot of ways you can make it. You're making sort of a bank, but sort of also a reminder of how we can give back to God. So the end result, you can either fill with cards of notes and words of things we give to God, or you can actually collect money in there too. It's a multi-purpose tool. So anyways, getting right to work, we're going to use two paper plates. Depending on the size you want, you can use one paper plate and cut it in half. I want it a little bigger today, so we're going to actually have two paper plates here. I'm going to stack them. I'm going to kind of cut so it's even. I'm going to cut across the top. You can see that I'm going a little more than halfway because I want a nice big basket. And then we're going to decorate this, and we're going to fold it to become our little basket. So you are, of course, more than welcome to decorate both sides. For the purposes of timing, I'm going to just do one. But we're going to, right here, we're going to remember why we're doing this. What can I offer to God? And then, as always, you're more than welcome to do lots of fun coloring here. And we can throw on some stickers, because it's always a good idea to throw on stickers. And we're going to remember that I give him meaning God, of course, and you can draw a heart, or if you want to get real fun, you can even cut out a separate piece of paper heart. And oh, maybe that was too big. We're just gonna snip it down a little further. There we go. And now, again, you can use this for actual money to collect offerings in. You can also remember other ways that we can serve God. So I happen to have these fun cutesy papers. You do not have to have those fun cutesy papers. You can use whatever papers you like. You can use strips of paper, what have you. But we're going to write down some ways that we can give ourselves to God. So how could you act justly? Well, you could stand up for other people. We're talking about being humble so we can rely on God we're talking about loving mercy. So we can pray and listen to God. So all great ways that we can give God not just our money, but our time, our efforts, ourselves. You can write more of these to go into your little hanging basket, or again, you can just use that for monetary purposes as well. Now we're going to put the whole basket component together. Now, if you like, you can use the you can use the other parts of your plate as handles, or you can just use a good old-fashioned pipe cleaner. But we're going to put these two plate sides together. And again, I encourage you to decorate both sides. We're just doing one side for now because otherwise it might just take too long. So I'm going to staple around your plate. If you want to make this into an extended activity and really work on some fine motor skills, you could actually sew this basket together. So in a loose sense, of course, you could put some hole punches around the sides, and then you can stick some yarn through it. That could be fun. And then we're going to flip pipe cleaner handle here. And then again, you've got your carrying case for your reminders of how to serve and love God, or your money, or your change. You'd want to really secure those edges if you're going to have quarters that could be falling out or something, but you get the idea. Wonderful little offering basket of sorts there. Now, craft number 2, we're going to remember this verse from Micah chapter 6 that says we should act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. Sometimes you'll hear love kindness. There's different kinds of variations on the text, but we're going to use the most commonly stated one. And we're going to start with any piece of paper. We're going to start with a background piece of paper, and then this is going to be kind of a hanging decoration. We could hang it on the fridge or on the wall, or use it as a door hanger or a giant bookmark or whatever. But we are going to put onto our piece of paper some reminders of what this all means. So we're going to remember that we act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with our God. So we're going to actually do some tracing here. We're going to trace our hands, well, trace your student's hands or whoever is making the craft, and cut it out. And you can also, if you prefer, you can use ink and do a stamp, or you can paint it and do a stamp that way. Or if you don't want to get too messy or you don't want to wait for it to dry, just go ahead and trace it. So I'm going to trace, you could do this directly on the paper, but it's kind of fun to be able to cut it out and have kind of that different dynamic to things. So there's my rather oddly shaped hand. We're going to cut this out. And then do the same thing with the foot. You can either paint it and stamp it, which is really fun for little kids, or you can just trace around the shoe or trace around the foot itself. Entirely up to you, however you'd like to do it. And then we're also going to trace or cut. I happen to have this handy dandy heart from the previous craft, so we're going to use that as our heart. You could also draw a heart, or you could cut out another heart, or whatever kind of heart situation you want. Pardon me for one moment while I trace a foot. I mean, could I just kind of estimate and draw a foot? Yeah, but what fun is that? So, just trace my toes on the floor here. Kind of. Somewhat to scale. You know, I've got limited space to work with here. So, here's my foot. And of course, you could do it with the toes sticking up or with the shoe. I just have socks on at the moment, so that's why it's a little oddly shaped, but you know, it's fine. Everything's fine. We're good. Kind of looks like a blob, but we're calling it a foot. So now we're going to caption this. What does God want from us? And then down here, we put the parts of the verse. Act justly, so we care about others. Love mercy or kindness, whichever translation you prefer. And walk humbly with God. So, if you have extra room or extra time, you're welcome to add some embellishment of what does that look like. You could add some ways that you can do those things. How can you walk humbly with God? How can you love mercy? But you can also just go ahead and glue or tape this down if you're running low on time, or if you're making a video and you don't want people to get bored out there in video land. So here we have Now you can do a number of things with this. You can add on another one of those handy dandy pipe cleaners to hang it up on the wall. You can throw a magnet on the back of it and make it a refrigerator hanging, or you can just tape it, or you can just have it, whatever you prefer. But it's a good reminder. Oh, my apologies. Almost forgot to reference the passage. So we're going to throw on our verse reference there. Now we're set. So a reminder of what this is about, what it means, and how we can serve God and what He wants from us. So hopefully those are two crafts that can help you communicate and celebrate this passage with your students. And as always, feel free to run with it. Take it one way, take it another way, take it or leave it, whatever floats your boat. Hopefully it's a blessing for you and your ministry, wherever and with whomever that might be. Come back and join us again, because we have new crafts and videos of messages out every week to help you and those that you help. So what are you waiting for? Go make some crafts, go make some disciples. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.